my name's Karina Corrales. I'm here to talk to you about literature circles in the classroom. I've had my participant, Lillian, thank you for being here, and I've asked her how she does books in her classroom. Here's what she gave me. As a class, that's a common way to do books in your classroom. Of course, reading the book together, doing different activities that go along with the book each day. Independent reading, having your students do the book on their own or with a partner, coming into class and doing projects or activities related to the book, or not, depending on your class. Some people do this differently. And small groups. A lot of teachers just have the students get together in groups, read the book, take turns reading, discuss the book. So literature circles is a form of small group reading in the classroom, and there's 5 different roles. It does require a little bit more planning than just putting your students into groups and having them read. So there's 5 roles, and these are interchangeable. You can add roles, take away roles, change them according to how you think that your students would benefit the most. This kind of literature circle that I'll be discussing works best in upper elementary, 4th, 5th grade. Of course, 2nd and 3rd grade can benefit as well. Just take a little bit of adjustment so that it's not as involved, because it does require a lot of participation and preparation on the students' end once you get them started. So the first role is the discussion director. So this student's role in the group is to lead the discussion. They'll have questions, they'll ask the group about the part of the book that they read for that session, and they'll just get things started, initiate conversation between all the members. The next role is the summarizer. So this student's role is to summarize what happened in the story in a couple of sentences, just telling everyone what happened, and even though everyone should have read the book, they just summarize the main ideas. The next role is the connector. So this student will find connections in 3 different ways. First will be between themselves and the book. So something that they have in common with the book that they've experienced before. Maybe if the main character in the book has a dog and so do they, that's a connection. Another connection would be the text to a movie or another book. And so if they read a book that has similar ideas or themes, that's another connection. And the third connection would be just real world. So if the main character is going to school every day, that's a real world theme that we know about because we experience going to school. The next role is a map maker, and so this person's role in the group will be to make a graphic organizer. This can be anything they choose. Ahead of time, you'll want to have different graphic organizers for the students to choose from, so then they can fill in the graphic organizer when it comes their turn to be the map maker. And so for the chunk of the story that they've read for that time, they'll fill in the graphic organizer, whatever it may be. Could be a small timeline of the events that happened in the story, or a possible main idea graphic organizer, anything that they want to do, really. And the next role is the word wizard. So this student's role will be to find words in that chunk of reading that they did not exactly know. And so they'll write the word down, write down what they think it means according to the context that it's in, and then they'll have to research the actual definition by looking in a dictionary or looking online on an online dictionary and providing that definition to their group members. And so then they can all learn new vocabulary as well. Other roles would be an illustrator. So this person in this role would draw a picture that goes along with the chunk of reading that they read for that session. This is a good role to implement in the younger elementary grades, maybe 2nd or 3rd if you're doing a literature circle. The illustrator would be a good role to have. It's simple, yet it still has them thinking about what they read by drawing a picture about it. The researcher is another role, and they will have done research on some background information that's relevant to the story. So anything that they find, if the main character in the book has a horse that got sick, for example, they can do some research on horse illnesses, how vets would take care of that if they would go to the house, or what kind of medicines, treatments. So any kind of event that they come across in the story, they can do some research on it and just get some more background information. Okay, now the way that I would do a literature circle in the classroom is by having a Prezi. Sorry about that. Okay, so I would have a Prezi. I'm not sure if you can see that. There's quite a glare, and I apologize. Lillian, can you see that okay? Okay, so I would have this up on the smartboard in the middle of the students doing the literature circle. And so I'm not sure if you can see it. It says literature circles at the top. And I would just begin by the first step, which would be, can't see that very well. The first step would be the discussion director. And so I would have this up on the board. I would begin a timer for about 2 to 3 minutes and tell students, okay, discussion director, go ahead and start. So in each group, the discussion director will start their questions, their conversation, and I'll have a timer set. The next role, when the timer goes off, the next person to speak in the group will be the summarizer. So I'll give them about 2 to 3 minutes. They'll summarize what happened in the story. The next will be the connector, so I'll say, okay, go ahead, connector, please begin. The map maker, the word wizard, and then finally, it'll say review roles for next session. So the students will need to go ahead and make sure that they each know what their role is for the next time that they'll meet, and they'll begin to wrap up. And so they'll do anything else that they didn't get a chance to finish. Everyone has to make sure that they have their definitions and words written down from that chunk of the story. I'm not sure if you can see that. There you go. Review roles for next session and wrap up. So while the literature circles are going on in the classroom, I will be walking around. I'll walk around, talk to the groups, make sure that they're on task. Once we've done a couple of literature circle sessions, they will be more on task and they'll know what to do on their own. But in the beginning, you do have to spend a day or two explaining to the students what each role entails, the importance of the groups coming together and working as a group and as a unit, because it does require everyone to do their part. And when I have done this in the classroom, the students did find out that the people in their group who were not pulling their weight, it did kind of drag them down, and people, had to make up for that work that was missing. So it's important that they learn this, even though they'll learn it on their own without you having to tell them. And I just have a picture here of my students doing a literature circle. Whoops. And so if you can see that. So there's my students. They were doing the research part of the literature circle, and they were researching something that they found in their book that they found interesting. And so that's it. Lillian, do you have any questions for me? How long does it take? I'm not sure if you can hear her. It'll take about however long the stories are. So each group can have their own book. You can do one book for the whole class to read, and however long it takes you to break up the book. Usually what I do is take the book and just divide it up into about 20 pages per section. So each time that they meet, they would have read that 20-page chunk in their book, and so however long it takes to get through that chunk of increments of 20 pages, And then that's how many times you would meet for that literature circle for the one, for the first part. And then you would just maybe have a test or some kind of assessment at the end to make sure that everyone is on the same page, so to speak, with the book that they read. Is there any other questions? Yeah, it does require a lot of planning on the teacher's end. Before you start the literature circles, you want to make sure that you give each person in the group a packet of information that tells them what the role, what all the roles entail, the description of the roles, the sheets that they'll need, like the map maker, graphic organizer sheets, lines for the summarizer to just write down things that happened in the story, the discussion director, a space for him or her to write their questions, and the word wizard. So you want to make sure that everything's provided for all the roles, so the students, they'll have everything in front of them. So when it's their time to have each role in their group, they will have the necessary paperwork and they can just fill it out, bring it to their literature circle session, and share it with their group members. So that's about all the time I have. I hope you guys learned a lot about literature circles. I think they're a great way to do books in the classroom, and they really benefit the students when done correctly, and the preparation is well worth the outcome. Thank you.